The UN will begin inspections in Damascus later this week after an alleged chemical attack. Syria's government has now agreed to let the UN visit the site, and authorities have agreed to a ceasefire during that time. Is this a major breakthrough? Well, joining me live from Dunedin is international relations expert Robert Patman. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Simon.
What do you think about Syria allowing the UN inspectors to go in now, 5 days later?
Well, I think it's a welcome but belated development, and I think it reflects the pressure that the Assad regime has been under, not just from the United States and the UN Security Council, but from key players like Iran. A number of countries, including Russia, are signatories to the Chemical Weapons Convention, which bans the use of chemical weapons in battlefield conditions, and therefore they do have an inducement, they do have an incentive to at least get the Assad regime to comply with these requests for an independent investigation, particularly since a party of 20 UN investigators are in the country there at the moment.
OK, look, Britain is fairly sure that the Assad regime is behind these attacks, but Russia's saying don't jump to conclusions. What do you make of that?
Well, I think the Russians would say that, wouldn't they? I mean, they have a powerful strategic investment in Syria. They have been backing the Assad regime throughout this civil war, and they've shown no particular qualms about the fact that they've been backing a regime which has, in the course of carrying out a brutal campaign against its opponents, has accounted for more than 100,000 deaths. I think the Russians, their line is that the rebels staged a deliberate provocation in order to embarrass the Assad regime with the UN inspectors present in the country. But 2 points. Firstly, have the rebels got this capability? There is some scepticism in the Western world. Have they got access to chemical weapons like this? And second, why would they kill people who are nominally under their protection in the suburbs of Damascus? In other words, kill their would-be supporters. It doesn't not make seen from that point of view, it doesn't make a lot of sense. OK, let's look at how Barack Obama is dealing with this situation. Words he used over the weekend seemed like he was prevaricating. He's saying it was difficult and troublesome. Is he dragging his heels here? I think Mr. Obama has always been very cautious about involvement in Syria. He's very conscious there's no strong domestic support in the United States for it. He's been in the process of winding down American involvement in both Iraq and Afghanistan. He doesn't relish American involvement in new conflict. Having said all that, all the indications are that he's asked the Pentagon for options and that he will be taking action. There's been a flurry of activity in the last 48 hours. He's been consulting with his National Security Council. His Secretary of State, John Kerry, has been consulting widely within the Arab world and also with Mr. Cameron, his British counterpart. So I would think there's a possibility, although I don't think boots on the ground will be dispatched, I think we could be looking at the Kosovo situation where some sort of airstrike or cruise missile attack could be used. That could have a crucial impact, by the way, Simon, on the shape of the civil war. But I think Mr. Obama may be under some pressure internationally to wait for the findings of the UN inspection team.
And then you think that we may have some kind of action. Do you think what would happen after that, just briefly? Would it just inflame the whole region?
Well, that's certainly a possibility. But of course, opponents of Assad say that if he gets weaker, then you've got a much greater chance of stability, because the way he has prosecuted this civil war has resulted in millions of people fleeing over the borders into neighbouring Lebanon, Turkey, etc., and Iraq, etc., etc. And in fact, the Syrian civil war has destabilised the whole region already.
OK, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.